Nothing to see here, just students at a historically black college descending into a riot because a white conservative tried to speak. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another quick hit video where I break down breaking news and viral moments in short form. Today, we're going to check in on the conservative commentator Cam Higby, who is a typical kind of conservative Republican, a young guy, and he just went to a historically black college and university, that is Tennessee State University, and he tried to speak to the students in kind of the Charlie Kirk's, Steven Crowder, change my mind fashion, and have a conversation about deporting illegal immigrants and abolishing DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that, you know, from the conservative side of the spectrum, they believe are discriminatory and unfair. Anyway, I mean, this is a public college, so you're typically able to go there and speak to people, and you have a First Amendment right to do so. But what happened when he tried to just set up a table and have conversations turned really, really ugly. Take a look at some of these clips.
All you want to do is have civil conversations with humans. That's the only reason you can have discussion.
Yeah, they threw a drink up top.
Oh my gosh, they threw a drink up top.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Did somebody just throw something in our car?
Arrest.
They just tried to hit the car. They're still hitting the car. Whoa! That was loud.
So this is just the trashiest behavior to me. Cam Higby came here to have conversations with students, but they have no obligation to talk to him, right? If they think he's just trolling, they think he's not there to engage in good faith, they can just keep it moving. But instead, they took and ripped up his signs, wrote BLM on them, harassed them in their vehicle, and chased them off campus in this crazy mob. It's really disgusting and just trashy behavior. And it's like, maybe not to get shady, but maybe y'all should stop harassing random people who try to speak to you and maybe hit the books a little bit. Because I was looking it up, and the 4-year graduation rate for Tennessee State University is 22%. Okay, so you might have some bigger problems on that campus than some conservative trying to have conversations with people. But hundreds of people decided to gather around and crash out and throw a little riot about it. It's really insane. And I should say that I give him a lot of credit for doing this, especially after what happened to Charlie Kirk, for going. And he had security with him, but still, he's out in the open air, he's out in the quad. Anything could happen to him, and it takes bravery, whether you agree with him or not. I imagine I probably agree with him on a lot of the DEI stuff. I probably disagree with him on a lot of the immigration stuff, but these are mainstream conservative perspectives, and he simply went to espouse them in a public space on public property, First Amendment protected, and was met with a riot and a mob that forced the police to escort him off campus. Now, here's what's so crazy. I don't necessarily blame the college itself for wild and unhinged behavior by its students, but they're now gaslighting and saying the students behaved entirely professionally. I'm not kidding. That's what the university said. Those clips we just saw, that was them behaving entirely professionally. Guys, I'm going to show you the statements from the university. But first, do make sure to subscribe to the like button, comment with your thoughts, yada, yada, yada. Now, let's take a look at a couple of these statements because they truly are beyond parody. So the Tennessee State University released an official statement. Let me read this. TSU's statement on unauthorized campus activity. Today, a group of individuals unaffiliated with Tennessee State University appeared on campus without prior notice. In accordance with university policy, any demonstration or protest activity requires advance approval and permitting. So let's just pause on this for a moment, because I think this is a deflection tactic they're using to try to get away with kicking them off campus and potentially violating their First Amendment rights. Cam and the other people he was doing this with did not seek to host a protest or demonstration. They set up a table to have conversations with people one-on-one. That's it. That's normal. You're allowed to go to public spaces and talk to people. On my college at UMass, in the public squares, there would always be like a person with a megaphone yelling about Jesus and the rapture or whatever. And he was just allowed to be there. He didn't need a permit because he wasn't, obviously, if you're hosting some large scale event or mass demonstration, you need a permit. But typically, you don't need a permit to just go sit and talk to people one on one. It's not his fault that a riot ensued because he had a sign that said make DEI illegal, which again, if you think that DEI is reverse discrimination against white people or other groups, then thinking it should be illegal is not exactly the craziest hot take, but they crashed out over it. Anyway, some more from their statement here. Campus police and staff responded promptly, and the individuals were escorted from university grounds without incident. I'm sorry, guys, did those clips look like without incident to you? I really do not enjoy being gaslit by people who are paid by my tax dollars. At all times, TSU students conducted themselves in a professional and respectful manner. I have no words for the level of gaslighting in that statement. You saw the clips. Does any of that look professional or respectful in response to somebody that just has a different opinion that honestly a huge swath of the country, including many Black Americans or Americans of different racial backgrounds, agrees with? If you are teaching students that that is professional behavior, your institution should be abolished because that is diabolical. Nothing about that is professional whatsoever. Anyway, they said the safety and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff remain our highest priority. TSU will continue to uphold university policies and ensure that campus remains a safe, welcoming, and orderly environment for all members of our community. Well, sorry, actually, your highest priority should probably be the law and the Constitution that binds you as a public institution funded by our tax dollars. And it seems like you don't have proper regard for that. And the only people who made this unsafe were not the people who came and spoke words or wrote signs, but the people who rioted and threw stuff at vehicles and ripped up other people's property and just acted professionally. Like, this is so insane to me. Now, of course, the Fearless Tour, which is the group that Cam is working with for this, they responded to TSU's statement, and they said, TSU released a statement claiming that students conducted themselves in a, quote, professional manner in response to our table on campus. They attacked us, our car, stole our possessions, screamed Black Power in our faces, and threatened us with weapons. Again, I guess that's just their side of the story. Those are just their allegations. Some of that is caught on video. Not all of that is caught in the videos that I've seen, but even just the parts that we all saw for ourselves is unacceptable behavior that does not meet any sane person's definition of professional. Like, I'm still hung up. You guys can probably tell. I'm still hung up on that. And frankly, I think this university should be investigated by the Department of Education for failing to uphold civil rights, because First Amendment free speech protections apply to anybody who goes and expresses opinions in public on taxpayer-funded campuses or whatever, and they didn't do anything wrong. You might disagree with their statements. You could choose to ignore them, but you can't rip up their property, harass them, throw stuff at them. And then to have the university suggest that that's what they consider professional conduct. I don't know. Maybe they are miseducating these students. Maybe that explains the abysmal graduation rates. And maybe they should be investigated as well by Congress, whether they're really deserving of taxpayer dollars. I don't know. That's wild to me. Now, of course, the NAACP had to get involved. And their Tennessee State University chapter released a statement. Urgent warning regarding antagonistic group targeting HBCU campuses. Dear esteemed leaders, today, Tuesday, September 23rd, a group calling themselves Fearless Debates appeared on the campus of Tennessee State University. They wore Make America Great Again hats and carried poster boards bearing inflammatory messages such as "Deport all illegals now" and "DEI should be illegal." They attempted to draw students into conversations centered on these messages, which were framed as debate but functioned as provocation. Framed as debate, but functioned as provocation. So if you're just saying they were provocative, yeah, that's how a debate and ideas are supposed to be. Now, if you're saying they provoke behavior, then you're victim blaming the victims of criminal vandalism, allegedly. Though it's kind of what we saw on camera. This incident was not, and also I love how they're treating these two statements, deport all illegals now and DEI should be illegal, as if they're just like, oh my God, the craziest takes. A huge swath of America believes that, whether you like it or not. So you can choose to reckon with it, or you can act like it's some unutterable opinion, but it's still not. Like, this incident was not an isolated act of political expression. It was an intentional effort to antagonize, disrupt, and instill fear in a space created to be safe, affirming, and supportive of Black students. While we recognize and respect that free speech is a constitutional right, there is a clear and urgent distinction between constructive dialogue and rhetoric deliberately designed to provoke, demean, and endanger the psychological safety of students at HBCUs. Oh my God, no, there isn't. There simply is not. You cannot seriously claim that having people set up a poster and sit in a chair and invite people to talk to them endangers anyone's psychological safety. If your psychological safety is that, which is not even a real concept, is that vulnerable, you belong in a padded room, babe. This is very dangerous rhetoric. The only ones who were in danger, as far as I can tell from the videos and the evidence that I've seen, are Cam and the other people participating in this tour whose property and vehicle were assaulted in like a mass out of control demonstration. This is really bleak. This space was created to be safe, but just not for people who we say things we don't like. I mean, I don't know. Institutions should not be allowed to take this stance that so clearly goes against the law and the Constitution without facing repercussions for it. Legal repercussions. I would encourage Cam, for example, to reach out to the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, FIRE, about potentially suing the university for what they've done here. And if they're going to, this is the NAACP, so this is a private chapter at the college, but even looking at the main college's statement, if this is the dominant atmosphere and attitude, then these are not institutions worthy of our tax dollars. I fundamentally believe that. So they closed out the statement, we will not be silenced. No one silenced you. They invited you into a conversation, and then students silenced them. Anyway, continuing, we will not allow outside groups to strip away the dignity, safety, and thriving of our students. The time to respond with strength and unity is now. The only one who made anything unsafe was the unhinged students and their professional behavior. Okay, like, to say that having an opinion and asking people to discuss strips anyone's dignity is absurd. All of it's absurd. Shout out to Cam and his team for honestly being brave. It takes real bravery to even be going to these campuses right now, but it seems to me that his rights were violated potentially, and that the attitudes that are present on this particular college campus among some of these students and administrators are totally anathema to basic American values and to any actual sense of dialogue or debate, which is really what college campuses are supposed to be about. And I'm not really sure they should be receiving taxpayer dollars. Well, so far off course. What do you guys think? Do you sympathize with Cam, or do you think these students were just behaving in a professional manner? I'm still hung up on that. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet, yada, yada, yada. And we'll talk again real soon.